Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Checking. Finally Thursday. Welcome everyone. Good evening, gladiators in suits. It's been a very long week for us. Not complaining, very happy. It's been a very productive week. And I think that when you're accomplished a lot of things, it makes you grateful about the blessings as well. So it's a happy problem. So good evening. Christine Soriano is the first person I see in my chat box saying hello po. Hi po, good evening. Thank you for joining our session. Tonight's topic. A lot of you have been saying, John, I need a topic that requires about leaving my company because you haven't done it for quite a while. All of your topics have been very positive lately. A lot of you have been saying that. So, sige. Okay, we're going to talk about your favorite topic, but this time I want to do another twist again. This session isn't about quitting per se. Tonight's topic is about if you plan to leave, and I'm talking about a horizon, a time horizon of, let's say, 3 to 6 months. What are the things that you need to prepare if you are able to contemplate first? Because obviously, there are times wherein leaving can be very abrupt, could be just a matter of weeks or a month. But let's say you are envisioning 3 or 6 months down the line that you know that you are leaving. You just don't know to which company are you leaving it for and how quick can you get out of the company. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. I want to give some tips as well as some experiences of during the time when I was in the corporate world and I was planning to leave, what were the things that I had to iron out first to make sure that my leaving was as seamless as possible with the least amount of headaches, with the ability to transition to the new company as quickly as possible. We'll talk about that. And of course, remember, I'm not the only resource person here. The reason why you are in this session is because you also have things to share. So everyone in this room is a resource person. Yes. So if you have any tips, points of advice, if you have experienced the same thing in the past, I would love to hear your comments. And if you could please type that in the chat box so we can read it and share it with the rest. Is that cool? Stress everyday sabi, magandang happy gabi po, stay pogi always. Pwede na ba? Papasa na ba akong ano? Pogi na ba? Thank you for the compliment. Camille Irish says, hello, hoping a great time. Nelsa from LinkedIn says, good evening as well. Life coach Paula also says, good evening. Thank you for joining our session tonight. Kiko de la Cruz, aba bumanat na. We should also consider the financial transition when you move to another employer. I agree. We'll also talk about this later on. Is it true that if you are leaving, you're supposed to have a certain amount of savings? And my answer here is yes. If you think you're going to be quitting without any safety nets, that you have a new company to move into, I would recommend minimum, depending on your lifestyle, okay? But minimum, just to be safe, 6 months worth of savings. What people would usually say is, whatever your salary is, multiply that to 6 months so that you have enough buffer in case you are unemployed for a long period of time. Now, when I first heard this tip, I said, that's ridiculous. Who has 6 months worth of their salaries? I think most people don't. So I will make it more realistic. I would say 3 months worth. You can contract it to 1 month if you have other safety nets. For example, credit cards. Okay? By the way, can I just say this now because I might forget it later on? Why is it important to use your credit card and to treat it like a debit card? So when I say treat it like a debit card, use your credit card even for the smallest purchase. 500, 200, 300, they all add up to a big amount at the end of the month. And treat it as if you're paying it in cash. So right after you paid everything in credit card, immediately on the same day, if you can, or in the same week, pay it using your debit or using your cash. Why is it important? The more you keep on spending on your credit card, the more the bank will decide later on that it can increase your credit limit. So if you've been given only 50,000 pesos as a credit limit, and then it notices that you've been spending almost 50,000 or more every month, it will keep on pushing your credit limit so that now you can have 100,000. Maybe a year or two, you can push that to 300,000, 500,000. And I will say this, it's very important to have this credit limit so that in times of emergencies, you'll be able to take use of this as well. Yes. How do you know what your credit score is? I will say this because you're in the Philippines. Credit scores do exist, but credit scores are not normally used nor even revealed to the customers. I wish that this was something as robust as they do in the United States, but most of us don't know what our credit scores are. What we know is that if we have a good record that we have been paying the bills and we don't have any outstanding measures from other companies, we usually have our credit cards also approved from other banks. So my point is this, try to have 2 to 3 credit cards and then try to expand your credit limits for all these credit cards. It's very important to take note how if you have 500,000, another 500,000, another 500,000, just imagine you can have 1.5 million pesos worth of credit limits in times of emergencies. Now, what is the downside of doing that? Obviously, for some people who have issues psychologically in terms of their spending habits, they might keep on spending and using their credit card, but they fail to pay that credit card immediately on the same day. Okay? I'm saying this from a place of privilege because I think I'm lucky that I do have really good financial discipline, meaning the moment I pay something via my credit card, on the same day, I transfer that amount from my debit card into my credit card. So when I get my bill at the end of the month, I don't get shocked. Connecting this now to our topic tonight, why is that important? You don't need to save up 6 months worth of savings if you are going to be unemployed, if you're having a problem to get a job, if you have other safety nets on where you can get your money. That also includes who are the relatives or who are the friends that you might cling onto if you need some money to be borrowed also. Okay? Oh, ayan. This is a given. Hazel says you can get your credit score from CIC. That's true. From experience, however, it can be very slow. Also, at the end of the day, majority of what you will need, if, let's say, for example, you have a relationship with a bank, you can always ask your relationship manager if you have one, or you can ask the bank, for example, you can always request if you can have your credit limit increased. It's always going to be subject to approval by the bank. Okay? I love your long sleeves. Where did you buy this? This is Gap, which I bought on sale. I think 50% off. Okay, so we'll continue our discussion. Again, our topic for tonight is if you plan to leave in the next 3 to 6 months, what are the things to iron out? What are the things to manage? For example, can I add one more now while I'm still waiting for your questions? And you can now add your questions if you can. When I was in the corporate world, I knew that one of my biggest issue was doing job interview. Fast forward to 20 years, I am also aware that that is not a big issue anymore these days. Why? Because it's normal to do your job interviews via Zoom. It's normal to do your sessions via virtual interviews, which means you can easily sneak out while you're still in your current company if you plan to be interviewed for another company. But 10 years ago, this was my issue. You know what I would do? I would usually request the interviewer if I can have my job interview during lunchtime or around 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., where I can easily request my manager without telling them that I'm going out for an interview if I can leave prematurely for an hour before for the day. Okay? It's important to strategize these things because my number one recommendation is not to reveal to anyone that you plan to leave. Can I also say this? Please don't tell it even to your best friend in the company. Why is that? You will never know who is going to slip up and accidentally tell this to someone. And your plans are going to be revealed down to your manager. Even if your manager, let's say, for example, is going to be happy for you, please take note, the moment someone finds out that you're planning to leave, they will never see you the same way again. Can I get an exclamation mark? I want you to be safe about this part. Some managers will see it as betrayal. Some managers will see it, he's already made up his mind. And so I will no longer assign big projects. I will no longer involve you in exciting tasks because I think you're going to leave this position anyway. And that can affect your engagement in the company. That can affect in the next 3 to 6 months until you're still looking for a new job, how you see your position in the company. So please don't reveal it. I'll give you an example. I had a friend who said this to me before, and he said, "You know what, coach? By the way, I don't like being called coach, but he called me as coach. He said, Coach, you know what? I just finished a job interview 2 weeks ago, and I was told by the recruiter that they want to get me in this new company. And I declined because I still love my current job and my current boss." And he said, "Should I tell it to my boss? I want her to be proud that I declined, I rejected a job offer." And I said, "Are you stupid? The intention of making your manager proud that you rejected an offer is not going to be the impact. It's not going to be the effect. The effect is this: your manager will realize that all these times you have been actively pursuing for a new job. And that's going to change the way they see you. Granted, there are certain managers who will step up to the plate and say, Ooh, he has plans of leaving, therefore I will make him more engaged. I'm going to give him more exciting tasks. I probably will promote him if that's what he's been asking for the longest time. But these things are going to change the way people see you. Don't reveal it unless you are sure it's going to happen. Can I get the letter A as in amen? Okay? This is a non negotiable part of leaving. Okay? Well, I also like this answer from 𝗧𝗵𝗃. A good tip: if you plan to leave, do not burn bridges. You might one day be given an opportunity to come back. I so agree with this statement. Thank you, 𝗧𝗵𝗃, for sharing this. I also want to highlight this. You'll never know, because if your industry is so small, you'll never know if the person you had conflict with in company X becomes your teammate again, or worse, your boss 5 years later in another company. And it's payback time, and they will make sure that you're going to have the hardest time because you had conflict also in the past. So thank you, 𝗧𝗵𝗃, for sharing that. I so agree. Okay. Princess Pusing, thank you for the gift, by the way. Okay, question from Serial. Is it okay to disclose that you are planning to pursue further studies to your boss or employer? I would, if the company in the first place is supportive of employees pursuing studies, because not every company does. Not all companies give a damn if you're going to be pursuing MBA. Some companies even think that if you are pursuing masterals or any future studies, it's going to eat up your time, and it's going to eat up and divide your attention. Okay? I will not reveal this if I think that my company is not even going to support me. Check also your contract, by the way, because some employment contracts these days do not allow people to pursue studies while they are in the same position. Why? It's going to divide their attention also. So be mindful about that. Okay? Isaiah on Facebook is asking this question. Is it okay to leave the company upon your resignation date, even if the company is having the hard time to find my replacement? It took even 3 months. I've answered this before, but I will answer it again. It is not your obligation to look for your replacement. That is the responsibility of HR or the company and the business owner. If they couldn't find a replacement, but you have already covered all your requirements, including your clearance and 30 days rendering, it's none of your business. Just leave. And if the company is withholding you because they couldn't find it, that is illegal. That is forced labor. Can I get an exclamation mark if we're all clear with that? Easier said than done, but this is something worth reporting to DOLE. Easier said than done, but this is something worth reporting to the authorities. Okay? A prospect company I'm applying is asking for a payslip. Your thoughts, please. Red flag. I do not like companies that ask for my payslip. Why? It means that they will base my future salary on that payslip, which should not be the case. If you are applying for a new job and you're asking for a 20% increase, plus or minus 10% increase, you have all the rights to do that. Why? When you're coming into a new company, you're adding in a new set of networks, a new set of skills, a new set of ways of thinking, speaking, and delivering projects that this company is going to benefit from. Meaning, you have a lot of intangible benefits that you're bringing in, and that deserves part of your merit increase. If the company is going to ask for your payslip because they assume that your salary is going to be the same as your last payslip, or around 5 to 10%, which is a very measly increase, this is a company that is not worth pursuing because they do not offer a good compensation package for their employees. They don't think you're worth it. What I would usually recommend is to call out and tell to that recruiter, I am sorry, I cannot share my payslip because my current company does not allow me to do so under my non-disclosure agreement. What I can tell you, however, is the range of my salary. I'm currently from 40,000 to the north of 60,000 pesos, and I am this year expecting a merit increase of about 8 to 15%. So you want to share that range so that at the end of the day, they can give you a more competitive salary versus the base salary as well. Okay, Isaiah, I hope I was able to answer your question. By the way, if you're new in our live stream, please take note that we give away prizes to our upcoming workshops. Our workshops are happening at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC, SM Aura, August 25 and August 26. Folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you're seeing that here now in front of your screen. Folks on TikTok, I don't have a special link on that, but I have printed something you can check out. This is our link that is happening on August 25 and 26 at the SMX Convention Center. Please check out all the topics. I am conducting a workshop on leadership, social media marketing, public speaking, and also business writing. What's the prize now? If you get to answer our trivia question later at the middle part of this workshop, of this live stream, I'm going to give you 2 tickets for our workshops. Each ticket is worth 1,799 pesos each. Okay? And there's only one catch I will be requesting from you. I will please ask you to share this live stream on your feed. That's the only thing I will be requesting. Okay? And we will find that out because your name has the label shared. If your name does not have that label, we will not make you eligible to join our contest. Okay? Please share. Salamat po. Thank you. That's the only way for us to be able to expand our algorithm and reach out to more viewers. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Okay, TikTok, Sarah. John, I am planning to leave in the next 3 months, but my biggest issue is that I am leaving because I had a major conflict with a colleague. Is this something that I will tell to the recruiter during my job interview? My answer here is no, obviously. Stick to the positive reasons as to why you are leaving. And the number one universal reason for leaving is simple. You're looking for greener pastures. You think that you want to take on new challenges. I'd like to meet new people, and I'd like to offer my expertise to a new company that will excite me. That's it. Keep the drama at bay. Everyone has conflicts in life. You don't need to open a can of worms to make the recruiter doubt that you are worth pursuing. Of course, take it with a grain of salt. This is where your ethics will stand. If you think that you're not worthy to be taken in because you're such a bad, rotten apple, that's on you. Okay? But if you think that the conflict is out of your hand, you were not responsible for the conflict that happened, and you know that you've done your best to manage that conflict, this is not something that you need to reveal, right? At the end of the day, everyone takes a risk on who they take in the organization. Okay? The least that you can do now is to give your best. When you are accepted in the company, you get the job done and you don't hurt anyone. Amen? Can I get the letter A as in amen? Okay. Same thing here. Carissa on Facebook is asking, hi, John. Is it okay for me to tell HR about my negative feedback regarding my supervisor during exit interview? Thank you in advance. I am a believer of exit interviews. I think that in order for the organization to become better, you have to tell them their points of improvement. And that includes what are the things that you think must be changed if there are bad people in the organization. That may include your boss. Okay. Carissa, I will say this, however, with again another grain of salt, another pinch of take it with a grain of salt in a sense that sometimes you have to choose your battles. While it is important to vomit and spill out everything, I will not do this if I find out that the HR is in good friends or is in cahoots with someone in the company that is very powerful. That might backfire on you. Okay. So that's going to be my exemption to the rule, by the way. You need to know who your allies and who are your enemies in the company. Unfortunately, they do happen, they do exist. So I will choose which people I will tell my issues to. But generally speaking, if I think that I've done my part in the company, I will answer that exit interview and I will share my thoughts with that exit interview. Ryan Tentia on YouTube is saying, in my own opinion, doing your very best in your last month is the most graceful exit you can do to your company. I agree. I also agree that loyalty is not measured by the number of years you spend in the company. You may be in the same company for 25 years, but you've been a slacker all these times. The company just happens to be generous or does not notice you really bad. That's not loyalty. That's freeloading. Even if you've only spent 2 to 3 years in the company, but you've given your best and you've even contributed so much, but you had to move on because you have to look for greener pastures, that I think is also a good definition of loyalty. Can I get the letter A? Amen? Agree? By the way, Ryan, can I just give you a quick tip of advice because I conduct public speaking workshops? In your statement here, you said, in my own opinion, doing your very best in your last month is the most graceful exit. Here's my reco. You don't need to say in my opinion. Neither do you need to say in my humble opinion. Why? Your opinions will always count. If you keep on adding disclaimers like this, you're putting yourself into an inferior state of mind. And that's how you lose your credibility in front of others. So when you are in a meeting and you want to suggest something, don't make disclaimers like, hi team, this idea might be crazy. Hi team, I'm new in the company. Take that out. You're going to lose confidence and you're going to lose credibility if you keep on saying that. Say it both in a polite but commanding manner. Hi team, may I suggest, based on the data XYZ. Hi team, may I share what we discovered last year, A, B, and C. The more that you act like a doormat, the more that people are going to treat you like a doormat. Can I get an exclamation mark if you agree? So take it out. Okay? Your sentence will still stand and you're not going to be impolite. You will still be graceful when you say those things. Okay? Let's answer some more question. Ooh, I am not gonna disagree with this. Dreamer Duchess on TikTok says, sadly, what Jonathan says only works in private companies. In government agencies, negative feedbacks are unattended. I'm gonna say this with a long sigh because I do agree. Both my parents are from the government agencies, and when I was young, this was one of their major complaints as they were working. I am a big believer, and this is the reason why when I get older, when I become more senior, I do want to serve in the public space because I think there's a lot of opportunities in changing the habits of our government employees. I think there is absence of culture of leadership, absence of culture of giving feedback, absence of professionalism. It's more common that relationships are given more priorities than merit. Okay? So it's not hopeless situation. I'm optimistic that things can change if you also replace over time the people who are going to lead any agency that is a bad rotten apple. Okay. Uh okay. My dog has been barking. Okay, I like this question from TikTok from PM189. What are your thoughts on imposter syndrome in applying for higher ranks in a bigger company? What is imposter syndrome? The belief that you're never good enough for something that technically you do deserve. So for example, you got promoted fair and square. You got all the right things, you demonstrate leadership skills, but when you got promoted, you feel like, can I really do this? Someone else is better than me. And so you feel like an imposter. And that also puts you into a downward spiral, thinking that because you're not good enough, therefore, you don't also give your best. Okay? I have 2 cents for this. Number one, I am a believer that at the end of the day, we learn by doing something over and over again. We don't just learn based on textbooks. We don't just learn based on past experiences. We learn based on repetitive mistakes over and over again. And so when someone gives me a position that I am unfamiliar, as long as I can calculate that, yes, it's challenging. Yes, I will likely make a lot of mistakes, but the mistakes are just enough to keep me afloat. And the mistakes are just enough for me to learn it quickly so that the first 2 months are steep, but by the third month, I'm expecting that I will be amazing in this position. That's how I will see it. So if someone offers you a job that you think that you cannot take on, try to assess not just based on what you think you've done in the past, but what are the core values that you possess. Core values meaning, am I resilient? Am I easily trained? Am I open to receiving feedback from people? Do I have the right amount of allies and friends wherein if I need help, someone will help me out? If you say yes to all these things, even if you're not spectacularly good right now, likely you will be good in this position also. That's how you combat the imposter syndrome. Okay? I would apply for a position, even if it's, let's say, way above what I'm doing right now, if you think that I can do the position. I'm going to flip the coin. There is a big, clear line between being confident because you have all the allies and support tools versus being delusional, thinking that I think I can do this even if the position is 8 steps above you. Okay? So, assessment is important. You know what's the easiest way to assess? Ask people around you. Ask 20 people, ask 10 people. If majority of them say that they think you can get the job done, it says a lot, especially if they have been the same people you've been working with. There's no space for doubt. You will get it done. But if majority of them are saying, I don't think you're ready for this, it's a good sign that you may not be ready yet. Of course, you have to cover all baskets. Ask other people, ask yourself. I will ask my ex-bosses. That's why ex-bosses relationship are very important. They're the people who know you inside and out, but there is no more awkwardness because you're no longer reporting to them. I see them as my mentor. So every time I make a decision, I ask my ex-bosses about these things also. Okay, can we give away some prizes now? Can I get the letter R if you guys are ready? Let's give away some prizes. I wait, sorry. Let's answer this muna. Huh? Let's answer this question. Ooh, Aleli says, co-workers did not support their newly promoted supervisor and they are making their own circle against her. I feel bad for that. Here's my take, however. If you are a leader and you are promoting one down talent into a supervisor, please do not surprise people that they are just magically going to be promoted. What do I mean? If you know that in 6 months' time, Joanna or Samantha is going to be promoted, you have to start installing how brilliant they are. I'm going to let them preside meetings. I'm going to assign them OIC positions. I'm going to make them as team leader for certain tasks. Why? I want them to be exposed to all other people who eventually might be their direct reports. Because I want these potential direct reports to notice that this person is so damn amazing such that they will no longer question in the future once they get promoted. Can I get an exclamation mark if you agree? So the role of a leader is to become their talent manager. I will expose you to as many people as I can. In meetings, I will make you be the one to preside it. In presentations, when you're the one who crafted the slides, I will give you the first 5 slides. I will do the last part. And I will make you present in front of the CEO. I will make you present in front of the other vice president. So that come deliberations for a promotion, when they get to see your name, they will be able to remember your face and say, yeah, Samantha, I remember this girl. She was the one who presented X days ago about X, Y, and Z. Install the flashes of brilliance as much as you can so that come promotion time, it's not going to be that difficult to prove that this person is worth it. You know what happened to this person, Aleli? The reason why your coworkers probably are doubting the credibility of your leader is because this leader was not able to prove that they were worthy of the position bestowed to them. So I will also blame the manager for this, unfortunately. Mm. John Paul on YouTube is asking, is it okay to contact the hiring manager to follow up on my application when the process is to wait for HR to give the feedback? Okay. If you are waiting for results of your job interview, before you even do that, during the job interview itself, please do not forget to ask this. Ask the recruiter, may I inquire, whoever is a successful candidate, when are you going to notify them? Why is this important? There are a lot of HR recruiters who assume that if you're not the ones who's shortlisted or you're not the one who's chosen, they will not contact you anymore. So for some people, they feel like they've been ghosted, but some people, my mentality is if I was not contacted, it's not because you're still hanging on to it. It's because you were not the chosen one. That's the default for most recruiters. Why? If they have 5,000 applicants, do you really think that they will have the time in the world to contact each applicant one by one? Granted, it's only polite and it's only rightful to contact each and everyone, but that is not logistically possible also. Okay? So what I would do is that to avoid any paranoia, ask it during the job interview. Right? So ask for something like, is your protocol going to be you're only going to contact the successful candidate, or are you going to reach out to all the candidates regardless if they have passed or not? Okay. But number two, Jan Paul is asking, can I directly contact the hiring manager to follow up? I think so. There's not going to be any harm to it. If ever they even appreciate that you really want this position so bad, that's fine. But that's not going to change the truth that at the end of the day, it's usually the recruiter who makes the last call. Okay. Here's one more tip. When you're applying on LinkedIn or JobStreet, check the date of the deadline, because the deadline is usually the last day when applications are still accepted. If the application is happening for 3 months and you got interview on the first month, please take note, you don't have the right to ask for updates because there are 2 more months ahead of you where they probably are looking for more candidates. 3 months, okay, 3 months might be too long. Let's say 1 month. If you got interviewed on the first week, you have to accept the fact that there are 3 more weeks for people to be discovered. So I will only follow up after the date of the deadline. That's another way of looking at your time horizons. Okay? Another question on TikTok. Someone's asking, what are your thoughts on HR requesting for the last payroll? I answered this a while ago, so you can please rewind. Be very happy to share that answer. Okay, another one from TikTok. Former employee is continuing to request me to work or respond. My contract has ended. What to do? Depends on what they're asking for. If they're requesting you to respond about a missing item like a laptop or car, obviously you have to respond to that. But if it's something that is already out of your scope and it's already done deadline wise, you're not obliged to do anything. That's it. It has already lapsed. Contract wise, the agreement, legally speaking, has already lapsed as well. Okay. Uh, oh, I like this from Anonymous on TikTok. Is it really a must to learn how to do small talks before a meeting start? I'm gonna throw this question first to our participants. Can I get a letter Y or letter N, as in yes or no? If you think that if you were the first one to arrive in the meeting, whether it's on Zoom or a physical office, do you think that when someone is beside you, you want to kill the silence and make some small talk and say, hey, so how are you? How's your project? Or from which department are you from? Can I get an answer here? Y as in yes, N as in no. I would love to get your answers, please. Looking at the chat box, a lot of yeses. On Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I have a handful of no's as well. Looking at TikTok, what are the responses? Oh, TikTok halo-halo ah. I have some Y, I have some letter Y, I'm some letter N. My personal take, I think you should. Every job involves social interaction. You're not working as an individual contributor. And even if you are an IC, it's not like you can do things on your own. You're always going to involve someone in your job. And part of getting the job done easily is to build relationships with other people. Relationships build trust. And please don't tell me it's all about pagiging sip-sip. This is not about bootlicking. When I say building relationship, it's about being likable. When I say being likable, meaning what is it about how this person speaks that will make me predict that they will get the job done? Meaning, if this person is polite, this person is courteous, this person talked about his last business trip, it seems like he's very well traveled, and therefore he seems like he's smart, and therefore I want to become his teammate in the future because I think he will get all the deadlines met. That's part of your relationship building. That's part of trust. Okay? Part of relationship building is you don't know how to do VLOOKUP and you're desperate to learn how to do VLOOKUP for your upcoming presentation. And this person who knows how to do VLOOKUP, you ask help from them and they said, I'm very busy right now, John. I'm so sorry. I can't help you right now, but I have 5 minutes to spare. And I like you so a lot because I think you're doing a good job for the company. So let me spare that 5 minutes for you. That's relationship. And you need every bit of relationship to get the job done. We have to take out the mindset that binabayaran ka ng kumpanya, so dapat gawin mo to. That's not how people think. And that's not how everyone operates. We call this, by the way, as emotional bank account. Can you type that in the chat box? It's called EBA, emotional bank account. Type that so you won't forget it. The emotional bank account is the amount of love you have deposited in people's hearts so that every time you need to withdraw because you need to ask for a favor, they will grant you that favor. That's how relationships work. Okay? You forgot your laptop in the meeting room, but you've already left the office. Who are you going to call in the office and say, Uy, pare, naiwanan ko laptop ko, baka mawala. Could you please keep it for me? I will get it from you tomorrow. These things are priceless. These are examples wherein no matter how good you are in sales, if you don't get these relationships fixed, you will not be able to succeed as well. And where do these relationships get built? They happen via small talks. Those conversations at the water cooler, those conversations while you are lining up at the canteen and you're making a small talk about your favorite Netflix show. And because you found out that you have something in common with this person, you realize, I like this person. If this person requests something from me in the future, I think I'm going to grant it. Okay? That's part of your visibility. That's part of your likability. In a lot of studies, and one of my favorite studies, published in Harvard Business Review, 2016, a lot of people prefer to work with those that they like versus those that are purely just competent. So they were asked to choose, do you like to work with someone who is likable but not competent? Or do you want to work with someone who is competent but not likable? Of course, in real life, you can be both. But they experimented looking at the extremes. You know what the participants chose? More than half chose, I'd rather work with someone who may not be as competent, but is very likable and pleasing to work with. Why? Most people think that competence can be trained. They can be managed over a period of time. Personalities, usually, it's hard to change them, especially when the person is already an adult. Because the older we are, the more stubborn we become with our personalities. Agree? Yes? Oh, I like this from Jeriel Samantha, especially if you are working remotely. You know, this is so true. Here's a tip. If you're talking to someone over email and you've never met them, please, if you can, make a phone call or make a Zoom call. Let the other person hear your voice. Why is that? When we read other people's emails, we read it with their voice in mind. And when we know how their voice sounds, we get to understand their words better. Have you been in those situations wherein akala mo ang sungit-sungit ng isang kausap mo sa email, but that's because you don't know how they look like or you don't know how they speak. But because their emails are so short, now you think they're so snobbish. But because you know how they speak in real life, you tell yourself, this person is not a bad person. They just write economically. They just prefer writing short notes. That's part of your relationship. So ako, whenever I get acquainted with someone, sasabihin ko, can we graduate the conversation first via a phone call or via a Zoom call? I want to properly introduce myself with you. I want to build rapport. I want to build relationship with you. And then you can graduate later on. You can do more of your emails and your chats via WhatsApp or Viber afterwards. But don't forget to build that relationship first. Okay? Okay, I think I need to give away some prizes now. I hope everyone's cool with that. Can I get the letter R if you're all ready for our prize? In order to be eligible to win our tickets to our upcoming workshop at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC, you need to share this live stream on your feed. Can I repeat? You have to share this live stream on your feed. Otherwise, we will not be able to call you out. Okay? Yes? Okay, so category for tonight. I'll be asking a question. The first 5 people on TikTok who get this right will win 4 tickets to all the 4 workshops, and you get to bring a +1. Those who get this right on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you all get 2 tickets each as well. 4 2 winners. Okay? What is the category for tonight? Category is... Shucks, bigla akong unprepared, no? Ito na lang. Technology. I hope that's okay. Let's talk about technology. Okay? So, here's a quick trivia. And you have to give me the correct answer to this. If, let's say, you're using your laptop or your... Are you guys ready, by the way? I'm already asking my question. I'm already asking my question. If, let's say, you're using your laptop and your smartphone, and it's a brand new phone, meaning everything is working out fine, but your internet seems to be disconnecting intermittently. And you've noticed that all the other people who are connecting to the internet are doing just fine. What could be a reason for your disconnection, intermittent disconnection? And here's a clue that may be related to your device. I'm saying this because we need to normalize the fact that if you have internet connections, it's not always the problem of the internet provider. Sometimes the issue is the device, your device. Okay? It's not signal. Why? The other people in the room are able to use the internet just fine. So it's not the signal. But you're still having intermittent. What could be the reason? Okay? Not virus. Updating in the background. Uy, walang nakakasagot ah. Okay, I'm gonna take this out because it's an easy answer. One is your RAM. Okay? But I don't need that answer because that's already a given. One is your RAM, meaning your random access memory. Maybe you have a 2 gig RAM or a 1 gig RAM. A good amount, it could be 8 gig or 6 gig for the laptop or the device to be running. But on top of that, what could be the reason why? Anyone? Here's the clue. Android devices disconnect from the internet when this happens to your phone. Wala pa rin nakakakuha. Gosh, here's one more clue. Usually your Zoom also disconnects and the audio becomes really muffled when it detects this from your device. Is it going to be the first time after hundreds of our webinars that someone will not be able to get our question correctly? Ayan, may nakuha na akong isa. May nakuha na akong isa. But I will not tell first who this person is, ha? May nakuha na akong isang correct one. Okay, I'm taking note of the name of this person. Okay, I've already gotten one correct answer. Anyone else? Okay, I'm gonna count 1 to 10. Otherwise, I will only give this. Okay, I found another one on Facebook also. One more winner. Thank you. So I've won one winner on Facebook, and then I've also found another one winner on TikTok. It's not about someone is calling. Okay. Should I share it now? So I only got two winners. Okay. So because we have only two winners, I will give each winner five free tickets just to reward you for a good job. Is that okay? So my first winner, let me first call out. My first winner is Gunting Maracha on TikTok. And then my other winner on Facebook so far is 𝗚𝗵𝗄𝗃 Aguilar. And the correct answer is, you know what's one of the reason? Your low bat. When your device goes 10% or 20%, sometimes the device response is to save up energy. And so one of the things to do that is to conserve it by taking out your connections that usually eat up the most amount of energy from your battery. So it's usually when you reach 20% or 10% or 30% for some devices, your laptop takes you out of the internet connection. On Zoom and Microsoft Teams, you know what happens? The audio becomes really garbled as well. Okay. Can I get an exclamation mark? Let's congratulate our only two winners who got this right. Very good. But I think it's my first time in 5 years of doing live that I did not get a lot of correct responses. Okay, so congratulations to 𝗚𝗵𝗄𝗃 Aguilar. You get 5 free tickets for our workshops. All of these that you're seeing, you get to attend, 5 tickets each. And then Gunting Maracha on TikTok, you also get to claim your prize. Now, how do you claim your prize for Gunting Maracha? Please look at this one, johnyabbott.com/free. Please go to that site because that is where we need to get your email address in order for us to give you instructions on how to claim your prize. And then for Facebook, 𝗚𝗵𝗄𝗃 Aguilar, I am typing it now in the chat box. Please click the link. That is johnyabbott.com/free. Congratulations to our winners. Okay, so be mindful. Always make sure that you have a good amount of battery before you proceed. Okay. Sarah is asking, John, when is season 3 of your podcast? Malapit na po. Thank you for reminding me because I get to announce it. Therefore, our podcast on Spotify is now on season 2. Please catch us. It's called From Grit to Great. If mabitin kayo about conversations like this, it's exactly the same conversation we do on podcast. We talk about managing your job, managing conflicts with your boss, quitting your job, all these things that help you become a better person in your career. Okay, let's answer a few more questions, if that's okay. Sabi ng iba, sorry, I cannot relate because I am an iPhone user daw. Okay. In Mac, it still happens. I'm not a Mac user, but I do know it happens. When your battery is too low, it can disconnect also from the internet. Or the functionality is not going to be as good. Okay, sabi ni Chad Aceron, Sir, nasa Iloilo po ako. Chad, there are only two things. You ignore your prize, or number 2, you give away your prize to someone else. Or number 3, Chad, because you're not in Manila, I will give you access instead to our online courses. Is that okay? Because we also offer online courses available 24/7 in our website, johnyabbott.com/talks. Okay? So Chad, please message me separately, give me a DM, and let's discuss your online courses. Oh, sabi ni Joed, baka naman daw, Chad, mamimigay ka daw ng tickets instead. People are typing in the chat box, give away your prize daw, Chad. Okay? Okay. Let's answer questions now. Question here from Ariana. Ariana Grande, not Grande. Okay, on TikTok. Ariana Grande is asking, okay, I think this question is related to salaries again for people who are planning to quit. Okay, John, I am juggling my freelancing work and my entrepreneurship. I have an online business in Lazada, and I'm planning to finally quit soon so I can focus my job on my business. When is it the right time to quit so that I can focus on my new businesses? Okay. Medyo malabo ang question, but let me rephrase. Maybe what you're asking here is, at what point of my business can I say that I am comfortable and confident that I have a good level of performance, revenues, customers, that I can now let go of my corporate job? My answer here is it's a very complicated one. If you think that in the next 3 months, at least confidently, you're going to earn business revenues that are at least as good as your company or even better, then I think you're in a good place. Okay? I'll give you an example. When I was still working with AirAsia, which is my last job when I won the apprentice, and during that time, I was very active doing a lot of motivational talks. I did a lot of consultations. Take note, I have been doing that for almost 3 years while I was still in AirAsia. But I only quit my job on the third year. Why? It was only on the third year when I started to earn more in my consultations and in my motivational talks more than my corporate job, to the point that I told to myself, nagiging balakid na ang aking corporate job, because if I quit this corporate job, I can even do more bookings. I can even do more motivational talks. So I said to myself, this has been happening consistently for the past 7 months. I think I can be on my own now. And so that's what I left. So if you're not still confident with your current business and you think that there is intermittent, minsan okay, minsan sablay, I don't think you should quit yet. Okay? I will instead, and here's the painful part, and here's where some people might find this controversial when I say it. Here's when I will say, if you're juggling your online business or any business with your current job, you have to accept the fact that there will be moments in your corporate job that you will be a little bit irresponsible achieving everything that's being asked from you. Can I get an exclamation mark if you have experienced that? What do I mean? Because you're now juggling two things and you want to give more of your time to your business. Likely, may mga meetings kang malilate ka. May mga deadlines kang mamimiss. That has happened to me in my last few months in AirAsia. And I had to take them as a cost. Did I get demerits for it? Of course. Tony was mad when I had some mistakes. But I told to myself, I'm going to take this little amount of pain as long as I'm still good enough, but not bad to the point that they will kick me out. Because the only way for me to spend more time, so noong umpisa, 50-50. And then it becomes 60-40. And then it becomes 70-30. And then 80-20 in favor of my new business. Up until, because the business is now thriving, I can tell to myself, I can now quit this job and be a full-time entrepreneur. That's how I would juggle. Now, can you still decide? Can you still pursue your business together with your job? You can. Just make sure that you don't get kicked out of the company because you've been irresponsible 100%. There is one silver lining while I should say maybe it's good to take on that job. And you know what that is? It's usually because of health insurance. Can I get the letter H? If you agree. It's usually health insurance. Why? One of the most expensive costs that you need to spend on your own now, if you are your own freelancer or entrepreneur, is that you have to buy your own HMO. And they can be expensive. They can be 30 to 60,000 pesos per year. Okay? All the moment you get cut, the moment you get sick, even your medications, if your company was spending for this, you have to embrace the fact that you have to spend these things on your own now. Okay? All of the internet connection, all of the mobile phones, if you're ready to take on those costs and expenses, go. But that is the reason why there are certain people wherein kahit mayaman na sila with their current business, they will keep a low-key job, even if it's not the best job in the world, because they're after the HMO. They're after the free perks that the business can only give to employees because they have a large scale. They get to benefit on the discounts that they can give to the employees. So be mindful of that, because up until today, that is the one of the expenses that I wish I don't need to spend on, even to my level up to this point, because HMO is so expensive. That's only HMO, by the way, ha. So if you really get sick and it's not part of the HMO coverage, and you don't have a PhilHealth, and because you have to cover both PhilHealth and HMO for you to be able to take on certain procedures, you might need to spend and shell out more from your pocket. So be mindful of that also. Okay. I get emotional when I talk about, benefits because it was really one of the things that I struggled that I wish someone told me. When I was 20, when did I leave my job in AirAsia? I left my job in AirAsia, the full-time job, in 2016. So, you get excited leaving your company because you're now finally free. And then when I tried to make an inventory, gosh, there were so many things. I had to buy my own laptop, right? A Microsoft Surface is 120,000 pesos. Uh, I didn't have any more a car because I was dependent on the company car plan. During that time, my gasoline allowance was also provided by the company, around 3,000 to 5,000 pesos. So if I were to add things up, benefits alone, they were a lot, more than 100,000 pesos in terms of the benefits. Again, it will depend on your position, of course, but I realized that these were non-monetized benefits that really are significant in terms of costs. Be ready to take on these things if you have decided to be your own business owner. That's why, kaya nga sinasabi ko lagi, being a business person is not for everyone. Let's not let's not evangelize that it's bad to be an employee. That is not true. Not everyone can be an employee. Not everyone has the competence nor the luxury to invest to become your own business person. Okay? I'll give an example. I have some friends wherein if you monetize the amount of business trips that they've done, business class flights, business hotels, they probably will not be able to spend these things easily if they were their own businessmen. How much is a business class flight? Half a million pesos these days if you go to the US. Even if I were a rich businessman, I will think twice to spend on that amount. But this is a no brainer for most companies. Why? Because they can afford to do so. And even if it's expensive, they can lower down the costs because they usually cover the scale. They have the economies of scale to push the prices down because they buy multiple tickets for multiple employees. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Okay. PM189. Should I accept a lateral promotion? I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let me cut you on that. I don't believe in lateral promotions because a promotion should always be upwards. If it's a lateral promotion, meaning no increase in salary, they just change your scope of work, it is a BS label. It is not a promotion. It's secondment to a different position. It's rotation to a different position. They're making you believe that you are getting promoted, but you're not getting anything out of it. Added training, added exposure, fine, but I can get that without a promotion. I don't believe in lateral promotions. Promotion should always involve a bigger scope. Promotions likely involve leadership skills because you now have to manage people under your belt. Promotions usually include a merit increase to recognize that because you're now doing more, we have to compensate you more. Okay? So PM189, if you're asking me, should I accept a lateral promotion or should I push for additional compensation? I'd go for additional cash or compensation in this case. In both situations, you're going to be given an extra workload anyway. So might as well go to the position we're in. You get more workload, but you get more money out of it. Two things. It's either you learn or you earn. Ideally, you need to have both. Earn and learn at the same time. If you're not earning a lot, at least learn a lot so that if you move to another company, whatever you've learned can be used to be monetized and haggle for a higher salary. Okay? Or if you're not learning a lot, but you're earning a lot, use that capital. Eventually, if you want, build your own business. And then move and leave the company because your business is now earning more than your corporate salary. Okay. Is it okay to regularize an employee with poor work quality and poor attendance according to Fang? No brainer. I will not regularize this. This person needs to be still under probation or probably will not even accept this person to be part of the company. Depends on how bad is bad in this case. Okay. Let's look for one more question. Okay, last one. Let's cover this. How do you deal with this is from Ayo Santos Jr. How to deal with a manager who always consume time or always cut my department's presentation. He always tells stories that is not related just to consume the time so that we cannot present. Ayo, in front of everyone in the team, again, this is just me, so it might work for me, might not work for you. I will blatantly tell that person, excuse me, I'm still presenting. Excuse me, I'd like to finish this presentation. I spent a lot of effort doing it. I hope the team appreciates the effort I put into it. May I continue? Okay. Or I will not even ask the question. I will say, let me continue. Okay. One way to also get your allies is that in the same meeting room, you ask the other people, is it okay if I continue? Can I ask permission from other people in the room? And if they say yes, then that means you can overpower the only one person who's against it. You can also say something like, I appreciate the stories that you tell, Mr. Santos, but I want to focus and make sure that our time is spent on what is best for the company. May I continue my presentation about Project X, Y, and Z? I will not use the silent treatment approach because the more you keep it silent, the more the person will think that it's okay to step on you. So I will not do that. Okay? These are examples of battles wherein if you keep shutting up, people will keep on shutting you down. Okay? You have to fight back, but you can do it gracefully. You can do it in a very commanding but professional way. Landel Calzada, thoughts on counter offers during resignation? I have lots of videos about this. You can check our live or video section on Reels. I have one about not taking a counter offer. Okay, gladiators in suits. I need to leave. We've done a handful for tonight's session. Thank you very much. We'll try to go live this weekend again. I haven't done a morning session on a Saturday, so maybe I'll try that out if I do have time. As you may know, I have two dogs now. I only had one before. I have one street dog. I'm actually, after this workshop, I'm going to this area to feed one dog on the street because we're going to bring her to a dog shelter on Sunday. And she doesn't know. But we have to take good care of this little girl before she leaves. So I have to do that now and I have to run. Okay. So thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I'm only as good as the energy you bounce back to me. If nabitin kayo, you can catch our best-selling books available in National Bookstore, Fully Booked, and Lazada. Our 8/8 sale is still happening as we speak. Folks on TikTok, you go to our yellow basket. All our books are available there for you to get copies from. Folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you can go to National Bookstore or Fully Booked. But if you want to get our 50% discount, you go to Lazada and Shopee. Go to our website or go to our Facebook page. The links to our Lazada and Shopee is there. Or you can simply type in the search box, official store, Jonathan Yabut. Okay? Thank you. Have a great night. Salamat po.